I'm going to give this a few moments, folks. We're waiting for people to be able to enter the room. I'm Reg Hoyt. I am the co-chair of Animal Biotechnology and Conservation at Delaware Valley University, and also the honorable position of being the chair of the One Health working group at Delaware Valley University, the sponsors of all of these One Health seminars. Just to get started here, I'll tell you a little bit about One Health. I believe that probably the vast majority of our audience has heard about One Health at Del Val. It's now being introduced to all of our freshmen within our Delaware Valley 2 experience, freshman year experience. But One Health is not a new concept. It's been around for a very long time. And I think it's a pretty simple concept. It's just a recognition that we, as well as other living organisms, plants and animals, and the environment are all in this together. The world is a small place. We are all engaged with each other here. Our paths for the future are inextricably linked. And we at Del Val believe that this is an incredibly important concept for all students to understand, no matter what their major. If you're in economics, there are certainly things that you're going to be doing or things that are happening that are going to have impacts on you, whether you're in ag business and you're having issues due to wildlife that are coming in and inhibiting your operations, or in turn, your operations having an impact on the environment. If you're in economics, you're certainly looking at not only what your impact is economically or financially, but how your business is impacting the environment, how it's impacting society. We're all in this together, and we kind of need to be approaching problems from a transdisciplinary approach. Those of us who have been around for a while and worked in our careers learned very quickly that we may have been trained in one discipline or another, but we need the help of other people. We need people with different ideas and different backgrounds. So the One Health Committee working group is trying to approach this from 3 different perspectives. One is education. And as I said, we have courses in which One Health is a major part of the discussions. And we also are working currently on an interdisciplinary degree in One Health that's available at Del Val, and a minor that would be in One Health Communications. We also wish to promote research, and that is to kind of tear down those silos that maybe exist at much larger institutions than Del Val, to have people from the social sciences working with people who are in ag, or working with people in life and physical science. And then finally, outreach is another component of this, and this is exactly what's happening tonight. Our One Health seminars are a way for us to not only engage students in meeting people from all over the world, in hearing about their work and the things that they're doing and how these interconnect with the different parts of the One Health triad, but also to engage in conversations coming back and forth from them. Tonight, we're being co-sponsored. Before I go any further, let me just say this. Later on, I'm going to put in the chat box my email address. So I welcome all of you folks who may be from the community and not necessarily a student at Del Val. If you would like to receive email about upcoming One Health seminars, just send me an email and I will add you to our One Health email list. At this point, I would like to welcome Stacy Carr-Poole, who is the director of Bucks County Audubon Society at Honey Hollow, and they are co-sponsors this evening for our event. Stacy?
Thanks so much, Reg. As Reg said, my name is Stacy. I'm the executive director with Bucks County Audubon Society at Honey Hollow. We have a beautiful preserve right over in New Hope area, and we are just really excited to continue to partner with Del Val and the One Health program on these amazing lectures. I'm always amazed when I come and I listen to them, and I know I learn so much. So Reg, thank you so much for putting another great series together. It really ties in well with the mission of Bucks County Audubon Society. We are very much about educating and engaging people with the natural world, with the environment, giving people the information that they need to become good stewards of the earth. So we really focus on that. We love our birds, and we love our wildlife, and we love our property. But what we really want is people to become stewards of all of our environment. So we do that through a huge variety of different programming, everything from virtual lectures similar to this, to programming for children. We do a great summer camp. We have schools coming out for field trips, anything that gets people outside onto our property. The property is also open from dawn to dusk every single day. So anyone can come and bird watch and walk and just enjoy the beautiful stream that we have, and just sort of reconnect with nature. So I encourage everyone to come out, enjoy, and then check out our website for all of our upcoming programs. So thank you so much. And thank you to Bill for being our speaker this evening. We're excited to hear your presentation.
Thanks, Stacy. And just as we were talking before we opened up the webinar, Bucks County Audubon Society actually started at Del Val back in 1969. So there's been a long-term relationship with Bucks County Audubon Society. And for you students, if you haven't been out there, it's not that far away. And many of you probably have been on classes that have spent some time there. It's a great place to just get outside and walk around. So do take the time to go over there. Well, at this point, I will stop sharing and I will begin a little introduction for our speaker this evening. William Konstant is somebody I've known for a number of years, so I may be jumping back and just saying Bill. But I'm going to read to you some of the things that we actually had on our flyer here. So Bill is an advisor for the Margot Marsh Biodiversity Foundation and the Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund, and is also a member of the IUCN Species Survival Commission Primate Specialist Group. Primate conservation has been Bill's focus for quite some time. And in addition to that, he's helped develop and support dozens of projects in the New World tropics, Africa, Madagascar, and Asia. In addition, he works for a number of international non-governmental organizations. Bill has developed wildlife conservation programs at several North American zoos and is a former co-chair of the AZA, or the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, Field Conservation Committee. Among his current priorities are updating primate threats assessment for the IUCN Red List of threatened species, and helping to develop a conservation action plan for Africa's endangered red colobus monkeys, and supporting the newly created African Primatological Society. It's a great pleasure to have Bill with us here tonight, and I will turn it over to you, Bill.
Well, thank you, Reg. This is my first time being in control of one of these webinars, so I'm assuming that the first slide of the presentation is visible to everyone. Is that the case?
Not yet, Bill. You're going to have to do your share screen.
Okay, here we go. All right, share screen. And
there we go.
okay, well, Reg, thank you very much for inviting me to speak this evening to the folks who are tuning in. I would like to begin by saying that I was not the first choice for this presentation. Oh, it's not allowing me to. Now something's weird. I'm trying to advance my screen, but it's not doing it.
If you can't do it with just a click, you might try actually on the keyboard. See if you can just do advance with the arrow keys.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying.
Oh, there you go.
Let's go back one then. All right. I'm kidding around here a bit. Reg had asked my mentor, Dr. Russell Mittermeier, if he might give this presentation, and that was very appropriate because whatever I learned about wildlife conservation, I've learned from Russ. Russ is the currently, he was the president of Conservation International for a number of years. He is now working for an organization called Rewild, based out of Austin, Texas. And we've worked together for the last 40 years. And again, anything I've learned about wildlife conservation, I've learned from him. And as Reg said earlier, it's a very simple, the One Health concept is a very simple concept. It's based on what I've learned, it's a no-brainer. And so for the last 40 years, the things that I've been doing in conservation have fallen within the parameters of the structure of the framework of One Health. And I'm going to share with you this evening three stories. One about a frog, one about a couple of rhinos, and the other about a gorilla in Rwanda. So let's get going here. Panamanian golden frog is a critically endangered species found only in Panama. Actually, it is now extinct in the wild, and I'll explain why. In terms of amphibians, if one were to follow the advice of Linnaeus, we wouldn't be bothering ourselves with the condition of any of them. Golden frogs or not, he considered them foul, filthy, fierce, offensive, harsh, even terrible. A point of view that some would disagree with. Those who understand that amphibians are sources of food for many cultures. They're one of the best forms of pest control we have on the planet. They're sources of medicine, and they are indicators of environmental health. One of the major reasons for the disappearance of amphibian populations has been habitat loss, especially in the tropical forests of the world. But some years ago, a new threat emerged, a fungus that's called Ketridiomycosis, and it was discovered in a really beautiful amphibian, the azure dart frog from the New World tropics. And this fungus works by getting into the skin of these animals. Their skin is fairly permeable, as can be seen, very thin and permeable, as can be seen in this glass frog from underneath, and keratinizing the skin, hardening it so that gas exchange, oxygen exchange is cut down. The membrane, that semi-impermeable membrane of the skin, is basically crystallized, and this causes incredible distress for the individuals and leads quickly to their death. The theory as to where this fungus originated suggests that it may have come from this species, the African clawed frog, which is an African species. So back in the 1930s, many of these frogs were shipped all over the world. They're popular in the pet trade. They were also an indicator of pregnancy in women, such as you heard about the tests that were used on rabbits. Well, clawed frogs were used as an indicator of pregnancy. So they went about the world in transit, in shipments, and many believe that, yes, that was the origination of the fungal epidemic, a pandemic back decades ago. And what happened because of this chytrid outbreaks, the shortened names, chytrid, the fungal outbreaks, the major ones were found here in the United States, in the Rocky Mountains, the Sierra Nevada, in Costa Rica and Panama, in Brazil's Atlantic forest in the New World, then in Africa, in the Eastern Arc Mountains and northern Queensland. There was great concern that should it get to an island nation like Madagascar, where 98% of the amphibians are endemic, you could lose an entire fauna. And what happened was that research began as species were dying out, and in Panama, what was done by a number of zoos here in the US was to create a captive breeding colony of the species that were affected by it, hopefully in advance of the fungus reaching the forests in which they lived, because you could actually track the path of this epidemic, which was moving, X number of miles per year through the forests of the country. I became aware of it when I worked for the Houston Zoo for a few years because of the work of this gentleman here that you see, Edgardo Griffith, a Panamanian herpetologist. And here he is in a stream in a place called El Valle. The mountain streams there contain many different dozens of frog species, including the Panamanian golden frog. It's where the species was described. And he was working with the animals before the fungus reached that part of Panama. It's an absolutely gorgeous species, a jewel. The males come down to the stream during the breeding season. They sit in the stream and they call, and the females come in to find their males. Now, as I said, the species is endemic to Panama. It's also a symbol of good luck, and its image appears just about everywhere in Panama City. Little tchotchkes, you can buy them at the gift shops. It's on currency. There are posters. It's a very well-known species, but it occurs only in Panama. What happened was Project Golden Frog, which was launched by zoos in the United States, began construction of a facility, what would become a biosecure facility, at a private zoo in El Valle. And this was done with volunteer labor and materials and a little bit of fundraising here and there. And the Houston Zoo, which I was working with at the time, sent staff down to Panama to help build this facility. This was before the fungus reached El Valle, but not long enough before that frogs started showing up dead. And here you can see what a golden frog that's been infected by the chytrid fungus looks like after the disease takes its toll. And so what you had was an unfinished facility and frogs dying off in droves. So what do? Here you have what is known as the Hotel Campestre, a small, very rustic facility at the foothill, in the foothills of the mountains there. And the owners of the hotel, when they learned that the frogs in the streams and the mountains behind them were in fact in deep trouble, they said, well, to the project, the Golden Frog Project, you can have the use of 3 or 4 of the rooms. And so these hotel rooms were cleared of their furniture and stocked with plastic terrariums. And here you see on the left, Heidi taking Edgardo's wife, Heidi, tending to the terrariums. She's cleaning them out, putting in fresh vegetation. And then on the right, what you see are volunteers from zoos in the United States. These are herpetologists, curators of herpetology, zookeepers from several different zoos around the country, who would go down to Panama for a week, 2 weeks at a time, and help collect frogs from the wild in areas that had not yet been affected by the fungus. And what they're doing there is they are bathing the leaves and such that are going to go into the terraria in a Clorox bleach solution that destroys the fungus. So basically everything that goes in and out of those rooms, or that went in and out of those rooms, had to be sanitized for the purposes of keeping the fungus out. And the fact that this was taking place in a hotel drew a lot of attention from the rest of the world. When the facility was complete, people from the community, including government officials, came out for the big move to take the frogs from the hotel over to this new, as I said, biosecure facility. Half of the facility was set up for breeding, and you can see here the very decent construction and the setup for managing these species in captivity. There was also half of the building devoted to display of the animals in naturalistic exhibits for the public, so that Panamanians and tourists, foreign tourists, could come visit. They were not allowed on in the biosecure part, but they were able to see the amphibians of their country in the public exhibit area. Ms. Heidi saying this is a heck of a lot better than having to deal with these in a hotel. And in addition to the golden frog, I believe at one point the El Valle Amphibian Conservation Center held upwards of 30 different species of these frogs. Were like beautiful jewels. Several of the species were critically endangered. The one on the top row there, second one in, was not even named by science at the time that it was brought into the facility. And unfortunately, the animals brought into the facility did not survive, and the species may have gone extinct not long after it was actually named. The project drew the attention of biologists around the world, including Jeff Corwin, who of Animal Planet, and they came down to El Valle. They came down to Panama to do a documentary called The Vanishing Frog, which I was lucky enough to be there for the filming of it. And in the process of documenting the work at the center, some field work also identified populations of frogs that had not yet been discovered. Project was written up and filmed. It appeared in videos that were shown by zoos around the states here. As I said, the Vanishing Frog documentary, in books by Jane Goodall, Jeff Corwin, and in a magazine known in National Geographic Kids magazine, which the producer of the Martha Stewart show read, and that got me an appearance on the show with the frogs from Panama, as well as a number of other species. So it brought it to the attention of the average American audience, and well, not unfortunately, fortunately, the golden frogs still exist. There are probably about 1,000 of them still in captivity, but the chytrid fungus is still present in the environment, and the frogs have not yet been able to be returned to the wild, but there is a reservoir, a captive reservoir, should that become possible someday. And my hope is to one day to return to Panama when this species has been returned to the wild. Second species, or set of species that I'm going to talk about, is the Sumatran and the Javan rhinos, two of 5 rhino species that are found in the world these days. The Sumatran rhino's closest relative is no longer living. It was the woolly rhino back from Pleistocene times. And when you look at it globally, there are approximately 30,000 or more rhinos on the planet today. These numbers are from a report by the International Rhino Foundation, the state of the rhino. The African rhinos, the black and the white, there are no rhinos are black and no rhinos are white. They're both gray. Those are the most numerous. The white rhino is the most numerous and is about 18,000 in number in the wild and about 500 or so in captivity at this time. The wild population was higher at one point, over 20,000, but recent years of poaching, intense poaching, recently have reduced those numbers. That being said, at one time, back at the turn of the 20th century, the white rhino was not numbered only in the hundreds, in the low hundreds, and intense conservation efforts have brought it not only back to where it was, but probably have increased its numbers over time. The Indian rhino, greater one-horned rhino, numbers now about 3,700. It too, in the early 1900s, was reduced, had been reduced to only a few hundred animals. It has come back as well, although not as much, not as greatly as the white rhino. And there are about 200 in captivity, in addition to those in the wild. The rhinos that we know, that most folks know the least about, are the two Southeast Asian species, the Javan rhino and the Sumatran rhino. And as you can see by the numbers there, they're in really bad shape. These animals, neither species numbers more than 100 animals right now in the wild, although it's very difficult to get good numbers on either because they are so secretive. Rhinos are hunted for their horns. Habitat loss has been a problem, especially for the Asian species, but it's the need for for this appendage of theirs that has driven their numbers down across the world, whether we're talking about the African or the Asian species, because people believe that the powdered horn will help reduce fever. They believe that it, and this is largely Asian traditional medicine that we're talking about here, that it is the powdered horn is a cure or an antidote for food poisoning, for scorpion bites, for mad dog bites, for fainting, for worms, intestinal parasites, for epilepsy, for memory loss, for diphtheria, for plague. And of course, there are those who believe that it is rhino horn consumed is an aphrodisiac. The list goes on and on. The point being that the rhino horn is the rhino's most vulnerable attribute. So, as I said, the two Southeast Asian species, the Sumatran rhino and the Javan rhino, are the most endangered. They're both critically endangered species. They're also the Sumatran rhino is the smallest of all the world's rhinos. And as you can see from the map on the right, its range was once quite widespread from the foothills of the Himalayas in India and Myanmar all the way down to the Indonesian islands of Sumatra and Borneo. Today, it's found only in very, very small pockets on the island of Sumatra and on the island of Borneo, in Indonesian Borneo. I think the animals in Malaysian Borneo have actually been extirpated. There, in Indonesia, the task of protecting this species falls to Rhino Rangers. These are people from the local community who are trained in law enforcement, and they work for a nonprofit organization, local nonprofit. And these gentlemen basically spend 2 to 3 weeks each month in the field. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's going out for a week or so, maybe 10 days, and then coming back for several days, maybe a week, and going back out, living off the land and working with government agents who carry weapons. These gentlemen they do not carry weapons, but they remove snares that are set for rhinos, but also are set for tigers, Sumatran tigers, and elephants can wind up getting caught in the snares. These are animals that are found with the Sumatran rhino and are poached for various reasons. And also in one part of northern Sumatra, the rhinos are found with orangutans. So the rhinos serve as a flagship species for wildlife conservation that impacts several other flagship species, such as these. I think northern Sumatra is the only place that you can find rhinos and elephants and orangutans these days. The story about trying to save the Sumatran rhino is written in a wonderful children's book called Emmy and the Rhino Scientist. Emmy was a female Sumatran rhino brought to the US and who lived at the Cincinnati Zoo for a number of years and gave birth to, I think, two young wild here. And in the background there is Dr. Terry Roth, the veterinarian at the zoo, who helped not only establish the breeding program there, but one in Sumatra at a place called Wake Combis, where the Sumatran Rhino Sanctuary was formed. So this program became international in scope very quickly, based on only a few animals. And Dr. Roth's job, in part, was to work with Indonesian veterinarians, her veterinary counterparts as well, who work with the rangers. Now, the sanctuary, this is showing the an ultrasound being done on a female there, Ratu, and right now she's in a holding cage. But each of the animals there, the males and the females, there were at one point, I think to start the sanctuary, there were 4. Each had access to several hectares of natural forest. And a number of years ago, the first birth of a Sumatran rhino in Indonesia in captivity took place with a little baby by the name of Undatu. He was the product of his mother here, Ratu, and a male that Cincinnati had taken for a captive breeding program there, but then returned to Indonesia, to Sumatra, for this breeding program. So Andalas was repatriated, mated with Ratu, and produced Undatu, the first of his kind there. This story was picked up by a 5th grade class here in the United States in Brooklyn, New York, and they decided to write a book about the one special rhino. It was a class project, was run by their teachers and mothers from the PTA, and they wrote this book and got it published. And you can buy it on Amazon.com. And funds from the sale of the book, proceeds from the book, go back to the Rhino Sanctuary to help maintain and sustain the breeding program. It's a great little project. I had the opportunity to bring copies of the book to the Indonesians, to the keepers there, who shared it here with little Undatu. And this photo went viral and was picked up by National Geographic Kids magazine. Again, it was being shared all over the world. It's a great story, and being able to work with the kids. Oh, by the way, those children who wrote the book have that 5th grade class each year as part of a program that's called Beast Relief. They take on a writing project, and they've written books about tigers, about orangutans, about other endangered species. And in each case, the funds from the sale of the book go to support the projects. An excellent program. The job in rhino, by comparison, I don't have any photos of a live job in rhino because I have never seen one, although I've been in the field. to look for them on several occasions, at least 3 times. As you can see, its range also pretty much mirrored that of the Sumatran rhino, ranging all the way from India all the way down to Sumatra and even farther south onto Java, not found on the island of Borneo. It also shows, this is an old map, and it shows where they used to live, which included Vietnam, but they are now extinct in Vietnam. They used to occur on the island of Sumatra, but are no longer there. Now they're found only on the western tip of Java, on a peninsula called Ujung Kulon, which, as you can see here, is accessible only from the east of the narrow isthmus of land there. And that is one of the reasons that the population has been able to maintain itself there, is because access to the forest in which you live, it can be limited, can be patrolled by the Rhino Rangers who you met before. Access to the rhino habitat from the sea is problematic at best. As I said, I spent some time there on the ground with the Rhino Rangers searching for the Javan rhino. You'll find very few photos of this animal. I was there for a week at one clip. We found footprints, we found wallows. You could see where the rhinos had rubbed against saplings and the mud was fresh and wet. They'd just been there before. And we found plenty of dung. It's a disgusting photo, but anyway. The area, the people around there, probably see them quite a bit. If the rhinos wander out of the national park, the entire area is surrounded by rice paddies. It's one of the most densely populated parts of the planet. And so the people know they're there. They're actually the symbol. The Javan rhino is the symbol for the province. Now, here on the other side of the world, people get together to help support this project by bowling for rhinos. I don't know if any of you who are tuned in here this evening have ever participated in a Bowling for Rhinos event. This is set up by the American Association of Zookeepers, who one night each year, each one of the chapters goes out and collects funds for the rhinos. And they raise several hundred thousands of dollars a year, at least they did pre-COVID, for the support of the protection programs, for the salaries of the rangers who are out there, as I said, several weeks out of every month, trying to protect the resident rhinos. I've had the opportunity to take tour groups. These are the people in this group here on this boat. And we're going to Ujung Kulon. They were folks who were the top prize winners in the Bowling for Rhinos, or their chapters raised the most funding. So what they got as a reward for their participation was a tour to see these animals in the wild that they were helping to protect. While there, they planted trees that have their names on them. They helped. They got to participate in project in fencing off an area of the peninsula in which the Javan rhinos are found. So they got to meet the people who were protecting them, and some of them had actually. This is a woman from the Cincinnati Zoo who had been in touch with the rangers there in Sumatra, and here's a woman who's getting to meet someone who she's been in touch with over the years, but finally getting to meet. So being part of that process, I was allowed to plant a tree. This is one I want to go back and see how. I'm told it's fairly tall now. We gained a lot of support for the project from celebrities who joined Team Rhino. This was the International Rhino Foundation doing this. So Jeff Corwin, who, as you can see in the lower right, he was part of the Frog Project as well. Dave Matthews, Jack Hanna, Jane Goodall, all lent a hand here in creating greater awareness of the rhino conservation efforts through Team Rhino. The last project or species I would like to speak about is the mountain gorilla. And this is an animal. There are two subspecies, Gorilla Baringi and Gorilla Baringi groweri, are called the Growers gorilla, and they basically live on the border of three countries, the Democratic Republic of Congo, formerly Zaire, Rwanda, and Uganda. And I have been able to visit the Rwanda site, which is in the Virunga volcanoes. It's an absolutely fantastic place to be. It's one of those once in a lifetime expeditions, if you will, which I took with a number of folks who it's also their first, probably only time. As you can see, the Virunga Mountains, on the opposite side of those mountains is the country of DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. This is the Rwandan side. Again, a very densely populated part of the world. These gorillas are surrounded by human settlements, agricultural villages. It's a country that's been through a horrible civil war. This is the Holocaust Museum there, Holocaust. And it's interesting that after the atrocities, after the violence, that the people just devoted, they said, enough of this, and they really looked at their country and said, we have a beautiful country here. And they took to the landscaping their homes and paying attention to the environment around them, which it's such a contrast from what their lives must have been like. So I saw the aftermath, which was quite encouraging. As I said, the average person there tills the soil, and the gorillas come in from the neighboring forests where where they're living in close association with people, and can be a crop pest at times. But the local people do not. They'll shoo them away to the best they can, but they do not retaliate against the gorillas for that. Volcanoes National Park is where one goes if one wants to see mountain gorillas. And at the time that I was there, only a few days before this, there was the Quita Izina, which is a naming ceremony that is now held each year. This was back in 2008. I was there just a few days before this. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend that. But it is a conservation tool, if you will, to get the local people to come out and name the children, play the biggest role in this, to name the newborn gorillas that are identified in each of the groups, so they know who they are. They take ownership. They have a pride in them, because these gorillas bring tourists from all over the world. People who will spend $1,000 to spend an hour with the mountain gorillas. That's pretty much what it costs these days. And as I said, people come from all over the world to do it. I was with a group that from Australia, Italy, here in the United States, folks that for them, this is their once in a lifetime experience. They train for it, and they will go to great lengths to see the different groups of gorillas. In this case, our destination was the Sousa group up on the top of the mountain, 3-hour hike going from 7,000 feet to 10,000 feet, being led by guides, being accompanied by armed rangers. And again, these people are earning their living. The local villages are benefiting from the international tourism that this generates. So we were going to see a group, the Sousa group, that was up the mountain and heading towards the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. 3-hour hike, and then as soon as you contact the animals, the clock starts ticking. You've got an hour. That's it. They will not let you stay any longer. And you're cautioned at the beginning to stay as far away from the gorillas as you can, not to approach them. Certainly don't approach them within 7 meters, 21, 22 feet or so. That's read to you. The problem, and then they have a pamphlet, but the problem is the gorillas don't read the pamphlet. And here you see an adult male, a silverback, one of 4 in this group of more than 30 animals, which is an unusually large group. I think was the largest at the time, and that's an unusual number of silverbacks in the group. And this guy, he was number 4. I think he wanted to be number 1, but that's between him and the other 3. I was taking shots of this animal from a distance. This is with a zoom lens, so I was maintaining my 22 feet. But as you can see, here's somebody who was just sitting on the hillside, and the gorilla entered the scene later, and that's not a safe distance, is it? Here's one of my colleagues from New York. She's sitting there. The gorilla came up behind her and then started to get a bit closer, which caused a change in her expression. And here this gives you a relative size difference as you see the gorilla following up a path, and you can't go to either side of those paths. You're walking into nettles and thorns and whatever. So the gorilla is going to just pass these people. Now, what the gorilla did to that gentleman there with the white hat on, and to me, this gorilla came up to me while I was taking photos, and I wasn't looking in his direction. He came up from behind me. I was kneeling on the ground, and he actually grabbed me by the shirt, not by the arm, not by the flesh, and flipped me over head over heels. And halfway through, I started to laugh because I realized he wasn't trying to hurt me. He was just saying, "Hey, I'm walking here." And I figured, well, he must be a New York gorilla. The great thing about that project is that it provides financial support, not just for the gorillas, but for all the other wildlife conservation programs in Rwanda, including a nearby national park, which we visited. So the gorillas are acting as a flagship species for the giraffes, for the impala, for the buffalo, the birds, and for the elephants there, which are easily approachable. In fact, a little bit too easily approachable. And they live in very close association with the people. And this is something that the people have to deal with. When it's time that the elephant wants something from you, he will come straight to your door and let you know it. Again, the gorillas, international tourism brings scarce conservation dollars to the country of Rwanda, benefits the animals themselves, the protected areas in which they live, and the people who live in close association with them. So I offer these little vignettes up as examples of pretty basic examples of One Health conservation, where you have people in society working with the plants and animals and the environment in which they live in very, very basic ways, but ways which are essential to protecting these species and saving them from extinction. So I thank you for your time this evening, and I will be happy to take any questions anyone may have.
Thank you, Bill. Everybody, if you would like to ask some questions, please put those into the Q&A. We've had some comments during the course of the talk. One of the questions was, why are there no Java rhinos in captivity? Do they not adapt well?
They have been, I think, in captivity only once they have been in captivity, but many years ago. They are just very, very difficult to find. And the Indonesian government does not want to take them out of the wild at this point in time. The Sumatran rhinos are only a handful in captivity, so both Asian species are Southeast Asian species are, I guess, poor candidates for captive breeding. And the certainly not in your traditional zoos, although the Cincinnati Zoo did a really good job with it, with the Sumatran rhino.
We have another question from Anonymous. And how susceptible are mountain gorillas or upland gorillas to COVID-19 or other human diseases, given recent infections in U.S. zoos?
Yeah, that I don't know. I don't know how. I've not heard anything. I've heard the reports from now several zoos in the United States, not just with gorillas, which would be lowland gorillas, not mountain gorillas. As I say, in several zoos. But the report, what's happened is many of the programs, such as the one that I was describing, went on hiatus during, had been on hiatus during the COVID pandemic. So I'm not sure we know. And with a number of different species, not only has it been tourism that has suffered, but also research programs have had to pull back, not just with gorillas and other primates, but even with bats and fruit bats and such, where the decision was made not to test those waters, to pull back and just give the wild populations a chance to give them a break from the exposure to people.
There are some interesting articles out there that are demonstrating susceptibility, and it's actually quite interesting because unusual groups that you wouldn't necessarily think would be susceptible to diseases jumping from humans to them or from them to humans seems quite likely. And then in other cases, things that you might think would be more likely just aren't occurring. But there's always been kind of a concern with the mountain gorillas, hasn't there been, Bill, for disease jumping from humans that are visiting possibly to the wild population?
Yes, that's been the case, which is one of the reasons for maintaining a quote safe unquote distance from them, has been for your safety. But the other major reason has been for the animals' safety, i.e. the potential exposure to human diseases, not necessarily COVID, but any upper respiratory condition.
Serenity asks, when did you first get into conservation?
Back in the early 1980s. I mentioned early on that my mentor, Dr. Russell Mittermeier, and I've been working together for the last 40 years. I think it was in 81 that I met him and I was a primate trainer. I was training chimpanzees, gibbons, and other primates in a laboratory setting. And Dr. Mittermeier was an adjunct professor at the university where I was working. He needed an assistant. I volunteered, and everything developed from that. It's something I've always wanted to do. I don't know that there's a set career path for it. I had gone to college initially as a wildlife conservation major, but wildlife conservation back in the 70s was in this country was pretty much working as a park ranger and dealing with hunting of white-tailed deer and pheasants and things like that, which was not really what I wanted to do for the future.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, Bill. I think that this is another good example. I keep on telling students, the best thing you can do for your career is to say yes.
Yeah. When you come to that fork in the road, take it.
Take advantage of any opportunities that raise their head. You never know where it's going to take you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm putting the finishing touches on a memoir that goes back to my college days and before, and I had opportunities. Actually, had the opportunity to meet Dr. Louis Leakey. The year before he passed away, I was an undergraduate student in anthropology, and he was looking for someone to go to Africa and study warthogs. Not sure that I that would have been my species of choice. But had he still been alive when I graduated, I might have taken him up on that. I worked in college with Dr. Thomas Cade, who founded the Peregrine Fund. So wound up working again with him and his staff on raptor conservation, not with peregrines, but with birds in the island of Mauritius, half a world away. So it's a lot about who you meet during your academic career and thereafter. And there's that theory about there being 6 degrees of separation between us and anyone else on the planet. I have a feeling that that's down to 2 or 3 now with social media. So you're, I really do think that. So take advantage of the people you know, and like you said, Reg, say yes, take a chance, take a shot.
So Dominique asks, what was the reason for gorillas being endangered? You mentioned it for the first 2, but not them.
Largely habitat destruction. They have been hunted as well. We're talking about if we're talking about the mountain gorilla now, we're talking about a species that has never been really numerous. But their montane forests, that area of Africa is not a wilderness. It's more a hotspot of biological diversity. So populations of animals tend to be smaller. The lowland gorilla, by comparison, there are tens of thousands of maybe even hundreds of thousands of gorillas left in the Congo wilderness, and so they're not as endangered. Although they, given their lifespans and poaching, bushmeat hunting, they are susceptible. Mountain gorillas were not hunted as heavily as their low counterparts, or have not been. And we haven't even known about them. We didn't know about them until the early 1900s.
Mary asks, will we be able to stop poaching altogether in other countries?
Seriously doubt that. I don't think it's realistic. It's part and parcel of what happens. Game meat is preferred meat. There are many different programs out there in which folks are engaged in raising livestock, not your traditional sheep, goats, cattle, but smaller species, rats and guinea pigs and others. In Madagascar, it's chicken farming to keep them from eating lemurs. And these programs do work. It's a better use of the local resources and the people's times. At some point, hunting becomes less not worth the effort, if you will. Whereas a villager might be able to go out and spend a day close to the village and come back with enough for the pot. Now it's overnight or 2 days out in the field. It's the law of diminishing returns. So where it stops, or unfortunately happens to be in areas where it's been too successful in the past. But having said that, there's always going to be a need for anti-poaching programs.
Yeah, Mary, I would suggest too that we can't stop poaching in our own country.
Right.
And essentially, much of the global fisheries is essentially poaching that has been hidden. So it's a problem all over the world, and we can't blame it on others. We have to look at all of ourselves are involved in this.
Yes, and I was at a rhino conservation summit in South Africa a number of years ago, and was surprised to see rangers from Yellowstone National Park who are working on that. There's an anti-poaching unit there that's still going. It will always be needed. It's not some other country's problem, some other people's problem. It's everywhere.
Sarah asks, early in the talk, you mentioned that African clawed frogs were used for pregnancy detection. How's that work?
Basically, if I recall, my wife, nobody in my family has used it, so I don't know from personal experience, but I believe the urine from a pregnant woman was injected under the skin of the frog, that it would cause the frog to produce, female frog would cause her to produce eggs. I don't, but don't quote me on that. I think that was the case.
I think so too, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think this is going to be our final question, and actually it's a really good one. So Calvin asks, can we plan fundraisers of our own at Del Val? If so, who can help us set up a fundraiser? Well, actually, Calvin, the Del Val chapter of the AAZK actually used to do a Bowling for Rhinos event along with Elmwood Park Zoo. And so, yes, we can set up one of those events again. I think COVID may cause us some issues at the moment, but certainly look into the future. And Bill, I'll kind of turn that back over to you because I just wanted to jump on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's that was an easy plug-in process. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the status of the Bowling for Rhinos tournament. I think they do some virtual ones, and people have become very creative in terms of what an event looks like these days. But in terms of what can be done at Del Val, Reg, I mean, that's certainly up to you. There are very auctions, I guess, are art auctions and things such as that. When again, that can be done in conjunction with zoos. When I was at the Houston Zoo, we did we held a program, Pongos Helping Pongos. Pongo is the generic name for orangutans. So the orangutans in the zoo were allowed to paint, and their art was then was auctioned off and sold. It was done the same thing with gibbons and orangutans. And I remember one year we held a local art auction, hosted the event, and we raised, it was, I believe, between $40,000 and $50,000 for orangutan conservation in Malaysian Borneo.
I also have to mention that when I was at the Phoenix Zoo, we also sold pieces of art, and that's how we began the black-footed ferret breeding facility at Phoenix Zoo. So engaging the community is a great way to help support conservation efforts. At this, first, I'd like to apologize. We did have a little bit of audio breaking up here and there, but hopefully you heard enough and understood what was going on. I thank everyone for attending this evening. It has been a great presentation. And I want to thank Stacy Carpool for co-sponsoring with us with the Bucks County Audubon Society. And Bill, fantastic. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you for the opportunity. I didn't know about the audio breakup. I hope it wasn't too bad.
It was breaking up a little bit here and there, but I think for the most part it cleared up, and people should have heard most of it.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, and have a great evening. Good night, Bill. Thank you so much.
Good night,
Good night, Stacy. Bye-bye.